Welcome to Annapolis Mosaics. Our program spotlights people in our community who are involved in activities designed to promote good human relations. I am Michael Keller, the chair of the Annapolis Human Relations Commission and your host. The commission is a city board that seeks to promote equal opportunity and to eliminate discrimination. My guests today are Anita Green and Najiba Halima, representing the Foster Grandparents Program. Najiba and Anita, welcome to Annapolis Mosaics.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, what is the mission of the Foster Grandparents Program?
Sure. So I'll start with the sponsor. We, Seeds for Success, are considered the sponsor of this program. We've been around in Annapolis for about 10 years, actually exactly 10 years now, and we work with children growing up in low-income communities by providing them tutors and mentors who are volunteers in the community to help them become successful in school and in life. We hope that through education they can exit poverty. So the Foster Grandparents Program is an opportunity that came to us last year through the Corporation of National Service. It is a federally funded program. It's national. And the mission of this program is to connect seniors in the community who are income eligible, low income, with low income students in various capacities in schools or daycares to work with them individually to help them also become successful in their academics.
Okay, how does the program actually work? I mean, what actually goes on with the program?
Well, the recruitment part is the part that I come in on.
Okay.
We actually recruit, as Najiba said, income eligible men and women for the program, 55 and older, that meet the requirements. So at present, we have 16 active grandparents working in 4 of our local schools, and we have capacity for 38, so we continue to recruit. So we recruit the grandparents. They have to go through application process, background check. They have to be cleared by their physicians, and then they have to be trained before they actually are put into the schools.
Okay. What age groups of children do you cover? Specific ages. What are the ages of the children who are in the foster grandparent program?
We target first and second grade, but we also target pre-K and kindergarten.
Okay.
Yeah, because we determined that we began working with kids in third grade at Seeds for Success, but the children need to be reached earlier.
Okay.
So we reached back for the younger group.
So ideally, the Foster Grandparents Program covers younger students, and then when they're done with the Foster Grandparent Program, they can enter into our flagship programs, the core Seeds for Success programs that offer services all the way up to 12th grade.
Okay. Could you talk a little bit about what the foster grandparents actually do? I mean, how do they interact with the children? What kinds of activities do the foster grandparents engage in?
But the foster grandparents once they go into the school system, they shadow an educator, and then they're assigned to one specific child. But there are foster grandparents who work with 2 children. Some are more capable than others at handling children. They teach them their reading skills, their writing skills, social skills in some aspects, behavioral skills.
Okay, could you describe a little bit better? We talk about these various kinds of skills. What specifically are you looking for the foster grandparents to instill in
I think reading skills is something that we're really focused on.
Okay.
Yeah, and we really want foster grandparents who have a strong desire to work with children. As you can imagine, sometimes they can be a handful, and we want foster grandparents who are patient and kind and understand that these children are coming from backgrounds that don't necessarily provide them the best social skills or the best academics or anything that they would really need to interact with someone on a one-on-one basis like that. So because the children that we pair them with are also low income, so they have a lot of needs, and we need foster grandparents who are patient and who want to work with these children. Now, before they actually start working with the kids, like Anita said, they are trained, but they also have to sit down with the educator and come up with an assessment and a plan for what they will work on with that specific student. So it could be behavior, reading, writing, like Anita said. It could be lots of things. It could be attention span, working on their attention span. It depends on the specific need of that child.
If you look at the assessments, like Najiba just said, you see that the teacher has written listening, paying attention, those types of things. Children are very busy, very active, so that's a taught skill as well in some cases.
So you're very much dependent to a degree on the assessment you're getting from the teachers. In other words, you want to know more about the child before you actually assign it to a foster grandparent, so you can at least let the foster grandparent know as you said, the needs of the specific child, what kinds of activities to engage in. Is that a correct description?
That's right. And it varies per child.
Okay. Where in Annapolis and Anne Arundel County do foster grandparents serve?
They're serving right now in the public school system, elementary school, Title I schools. Again, targeting pre-K, kindergarten, and first and second grade. We have MOUs with Mills Parole, Eastport, Germantown, and Lothian Elementary at present, and we're working on schools in North County.
When the foster grandparents work with the children, do they actually? Is there a site that they actually come together and meet at? Do they meet at homes? No.
Actually, they work within the school system, right there in the school system.
So it's right in the school.
Right in the school.
Yes. They're there all day.
They're there all day.
They're required to work with the youth at least 20 hours a week. In addition to that, they have to have 4 hours of training per month. So all the foster grandparents will come together, and Anita has a great schedule of various trainings. These are trainings on things that may be useful for them in working with the students, how to interact with students, how to teach reading, or even some other personal things, how to use Google Drive, right? Some other things.
Some of the children can teach the grandparents how to do that.
Exactly, they can relate to them. So in addition to the trainings, they're working the 20 hours within the school system. And we quickly learned that, when we first said 20 hours, they thought, oh boy, this is exhausting. I don't know if I could do that. These grandparents were going from just hanging out all day, having their own schedules and, having a great time on their own. And now 20 hours just seemed like a lot. And now we're finding
they're working more.
They want to work more. They're having such a good time. So, they're right in the school system. And then we meet with them monthly for their training.
Okay. One of the steps that are involved in becoming a foster grandparent. I'm sure our viewers are just fascinated with this program, and would want to know, how do I become a foster grandparent? What do I need to do? What are the specific requirements that I need to engage in order to be able to take part in this program?
You have to be 55 and over.
Older. That way, that you mentioned.
Income eligible. You have to complete the application process by contacting myself. My number's out on the flyers and on websites, and I've been to a lot of senior places. We're advertising. We're out there. We're recruiting all the time. Of course, you have to pass a background check and be cleared by a physician, do your training, and then basically...
What's the training consist of?
As Najiba just stated, we train you on all the skills that you would need to work in the school system, and then a teacher follows up with our teaching.
So we'll start off by covering our policies and how to do your reports. One of the great things, although these foster grandparents are volunteers, they actually get a small stipend. And that's where the income eligibility comes in. Now, this is because it's a federal program. It doesn't interrupt any other income eligibility that they're getting for where they're living or anything else. So it's purely a volunteer role and a little bit of a stipend. That is not considered income. So our training consists of the policies and procedures and how do you do reporting and how do you get reimbursed for medical visits and things like that. And then they'll shadow a teacher for 16 hours, and then we'll pair them with the student.
And what are the benefits of being a foster grandparent? what would you describe as things that the foster grandparents themselves get out of the program?
I think they feel a real sense of purpose. I've noticed in going to the schools and visiting that once they make connection with those children, those children are looking for them. And I believe it gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of renewal. It rejuvenates their lives as well. While they're helping the children, I believe that they're helping make themselves feel really good about what they're doing.
Yeah, you think it's a factor in which the children get affirmation from an adult.
Yeah.
Very often, some children, especially children, I think in some lower income households, don't necessarily get the kind of affirmation that you do in other households, and that's very, very important for a child.
Last week I went to a school, and when the foster grandparent walked into the classroom, her little student ran up and hugged her around the legs. So, and they said the students get better knowing that foster grandparent is coming today. They come to school, their attendance changes, all those things change.
And they're also a presence in the school itself. You might have a foster grandparent. They wear a uniform. They wear a bright red T-shirt or a bright red smock. So you see them in the school. You know they're there. And other students who are not even paired with that foster grandparent may say, "Hey, Miss So-and-so. Hey, Mr. So-and-so." And, think of a very warm grandparent. That's what they are in the school system. Yeah.
Could you share with our viewers some stories that you have about your experience with the foster grandparent program, or stories that you've heard from the foster grandparents themselves that you would find especially meaningful? It's little stories like that that really are of great interest to our viewers.
The foster grandparent program, I understand, initially was a program that was in the city before. And when we initially started out with our new program, we were targeting people who we knew were in the program before, and it was kind of quiet. But now the word's out. And just yesterday, I got an email from Germantown Elementary School looking for a previous foster grandparent, talking about how great she was and how they would like to have her back. And she was one of the ones initially on the list, so I'm going to refocus that and go back and talk with her, see if she'll come back again. So that people appreciate them. They really do. They're a big deal in the schools.
On our website, s4sannapolis.org, there's, again, this is a national program. There are several videos of other foster grandparents and the impact they've had on youth's lives. And youth are saying, I would not be able to stand here today and speak to you so calmly had I not had this foster grandparent helping me with communication skills and any other issues I had. So there are tons of videos, and you can definitely see those on our website.
Do you know of any stories, things that come to your mind that really, really impressed you that you could share with us?
I think for me, it's the one foster grandparent you just recruited who said, "Oh yeah, I can do 20 hours. It might be a little high," but then 2 days within, she's already at capacity. I mean, those stories are amazing that they're enjoying themselves so much. And if a foster grandparent is loving it that much to show up for 40 hours a week,
the children are feeling that.
The children will have a very positive impact.
Yeah. Now, I understand the requirements that you have and the numbers of grandparents that you recruit. How much unmet need do you think exists at this time? In other words, children who would like to have a foster grandparent who currently don't have it. A lot. Is it a lot?
I would think the need is great.
It is.
Right.
Like Anita said, we work in Title I schools, and these are students with high levels. These are schools that have high levels of students who are on the free and reduced lunch program.
Okay.
So there's tons of need. Think of the low-income housing communities and the public housing communities around Annapolis. There's a lot, and this is a county-wide program. Yeah. So we've put about 16 out in this area, and now we're going to look north and south of the county to see what other, but we know there's a lot of need in north and south.
Am I correct in observing that students who are selected are pretty much those who are recommended by teachers? And is that how you do it? So you basically ask the teachers who would benefit the most from this program, And then you make the hard decisions as to who is going to.
Because you really would like
do
to
it.
help all of them,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
every child that we can, but we don't have the resources to help every child, but we help all the ones that we can right now.
Yeah. Have you thought about ways of increasing the number of volunteers? Finding volunteers are always a tricky.
We'd love to,
We'd love
but
to.
the federal capacity is only
It's
38.
only 38.
Yeah.
Well, that's a
So
federal
they-
capacity.
Because for our county. So this program exists in various counties. In Baltimore, there are, alone in Maryland, there are over 4,000 foster grandparents. And in each county has its own type of program,
Yeah.
right? And they're in various capacities. Some are in schools or in Head Starts or, in daycares. So this program is pretty enormous, but for this area and the funding that we get, it's
That's our
38.
quota.
So that's the top number.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of foster grandparents that you can actually have.
That's
Right.
It's
right.
actually limited by.
The grant itself.
by
That's
the
right.
grant- By the grant itself.
And they've given us a lot of time to recruit these
Yeah.
foster grandparents. I'm actually surprised at how well we're doing.
Yeah, we are doing well.
Recruiting, there's a lot of interest in it.
Yeah.
Well, I would think that this is the kind of program that would attract large numbers of people, a lot of retired people,
Yeah.
who would be drawn to something like this. But it's hopefully down the road they can increase that,
Well,
that
and
max that
right.
you're dealing with.
yeah, and then so that's for the foster grandparents program, but our flagship programs, the
Right.
Seeds for Success programs, we're always needing volunteers for
and
that.
mentors
And they
and
serve
tutors.
as tutors and mentors outside of the school system within the community itself.
Yeah.
So we need tons of volunteers for that. We're growing and we're looking to work in other parts of the county now, and we're actually getting ready to have a really big recruitment push for that program as well.
What are the most rewarding aspects of the program for you?
For me personally, to see
Yeah, for you personally.
and hear about the improvement in the children, and to see the foster grandparents who also have a different way about them, it becomes important to them. It becomes important to them to be at that school, to work with that child all the time. When initially Najiba can say, I was like, this program won't move. It was like stuck. But once the first foster grandparents became on board, start talking to their friends and families, that's how we're getting a lot of referrals from people that they know. They're saying, I'm in this program, it would be great, you should come. Yeah, yeah.
For me, it's knowing that we are expanding our programs to serve children for an even longer amount of time. So in our flagship programs, we're doing 3rd grade all the way to 12th grade, and ideally the students stay in until 12th grade and they graduate. But with the foster grandparent program, we actually can start as soon as kindergarten, right? And now you have these kids, we can actually provide them full support in academics from that age all the way until they graduate high school. That's very rewarding to me. There aren't many programs that can do that. A lot of programs, because it's very difficult to provide that amount, that lengthy amount of service to youth.
What would you describe as the greatest challenges of the foster grandparent program?
I think the challenge for me is the recruitment, not once I meet them and work with them, but just getting the people to come out, to get them out, to find out where they are, to go there, to meet them. Because I feel confident once Najiba and our staff meets people and works with them, that they're willing to work with us. Yeah, just doing that mine, as you call Najiba, mine and goal, getting those nuggets, getting them out there. Yeah.
Are you talking here about the volunteers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Recruiting,
What do you actually look for in a volunteer? I mean, you mentioned the application process and the technical requirements that people, the background check. You've got to do all those things. You don't want to hire somebody cold. But, my sense is you're going to be looking for somebody who's going to be optimal in this kind of program. And so my guess is that you have a selection process that identifies people with certain specific attributes.
You know, there's a natural filtering process in the application process because it's so lengthy. And this isn't a process necessarily that we've created. It's a federally mandated process, right? The background checks. You have to get a physician's note to say that you can, you know, sit up and actually read. But aside from that, we make sure every school has ramps and is handicap accessible. So you don't have to be able to be on your feet all day. You don't have to chill children around all day. But like I said before, it's really a desire. It's a desire to work with the youth and a commitment to it, because as you can imagine, youth become attached to their foster grandparents, and we want someone who's committed. And they get all the holidays off and all the, you know, school holidays, summers off and things like that too. But, you know, showing up every day can be kind of tough. And we really want someone who's committed to doing that, who has fun.
Yeah, someone who you could depend on, who would actually show up, since it's a one-on-one program.
Exactly.
You know, the child is going to be looking for their foster grandparents, so they have to be able to actually be there for the child.
And I can say so far that we have that we have foster grandparents who are committed, who are showing up every day to work with the children.
You know, children are funny, and our other programs where they meet with their tutors weekly, you wouldn't. Sometimes the students have a little bit of an attitude, and you don't think they're really enjoying the experience, but they keep showing up, and that's what's important, right? But they're there, they're meeting with their tutors, and the 1 or 2 times the tutor has to call out for a doctor's appointment or work engagement or something, we have total meltdowns. And it's interesting because you don't see it. You thought, well, I didn't think you really liked me that much. But then when you don't show up, they're heartbroken. So we see that. We see those tears. So for us, that commitment is really
Very
important.
Yeah. You know, what you're describing is, and you can look at a variety of different programs that service youth. And I co-coordinate one actually at the United Methodist Church in Eastport.
We partner with them too.
Yes, it's well, the one. I know you do partner with Eastport United Methodist Church. But we actually have a program there in which we provide after-school homework and reading. For
that's a great program.
Okay, I co-coordinate that with a few other people. But the only reason I mentioned that is because it is confirming what you have just said in terms of what it means to the children. I'm convinced that we help them with their homework. We don't do their homework for them. We help them with it. You know, we have ways of encouraging them to read. If they read a certain number of books, they get a prize and that kind of thing. But I think the most important things that we do, having been active with this for program since its outset 11 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's 2 things. And it's things that I'd like you to comment on if you agree with it. One is that we talked about earlier. It provides adult affirmation for them. The second thing it does is it provides a sanctuary, whether it's in a school, whether it's in a church building, whether it's in the library. That becomes a sanctuary. I find it constitutes a sanctuary for the children. But we have the same thing. Sometimes, for example, it doesn't happen very often. We, for example, might not be able to have a class because some of the key volunteers aren't going to be there. That happens rarely. But when it does happen, the kids always say, "Why? You know, why?"
That's correct.
You know. If schools are closed, we don't hold a program. Same thing, you know. Ooh, you know. I mean, I remember one time the kids came out. They hadn't canceled school, but they had a case of freezing rain, and we held a program. We had 16 kids show up. Well, let me ask some other questions about it. Does the foster grandparent programs have any community partners? I think you do. Who are they, and what use do you put them to?
So some of the great community partners we have now are the low-income housing communities for seniors.
The Morris H. Blum.
Yes, so there's several around the country.
Bates.
Bates has been a great resource.
Yes.
And this is where we host trainings, and we also recruit the foster grandparents. So the low-income communities have been really great at allowing us to go into the community to reach the population we need. Other partners have been, of course, donors.
School system.
Yeah, yes, oh my gosh, yes. Right, we have to come into a memorandum of understanding with each school that we work with.
And that's tough to do, too.
Yeah, so they have to read this whole
project.
agreement and agree to certain things, and they do it, and because
they
they understand the value of the grandparents.
Yeah.
The donors, our community partners who are constantly supporting us, and I'll tell you this, in 10 years that we've been around, Seeds for Success has never paid rent, right? So partners that make that aspect possible so that we can focus our dollars on these types of programs. These are huge partners.
What is the source of your funding? I mean, obviously you're going to need funding, and especially as Seeds grows, that's going to become more and more important. It's going to be important for programs like the foster grandparents. You mentioned donors, are they the major source of the funding you have? Do you get like grant money or other kinds of things?
For this program, it is grant funded federally. It's a federal grant, so I'm sure you can imagine the reporting processes for that.
No.
It's tough.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah. So it's a reimbursement grant. So really our biggest challenge is cash flow, making sure we have enough to sustain the stipends and all that good stuff. And then we get reimbursed from the federal program. We do have to match a little bit of the grant. So that funding with the match comes from donors in the area, various foundations, various individuals, just people who know about the organization and care about its mission.
Okay. Looking down the road 5 years, where would you like to see the foster grandparent program be?
At full capacity.
Right.
38 foster grandparents.
My goal, I tell Najiba, is to have the 38 foster grandparents on a waiting list of people who want to be a foster grandparent. So that's our goal. Yeah, to get to that number, maintain that number, and be sustained going forward.
Okay. Well, how can viewers get more information about the program, including how to apply to become a foster grandparent? How can they reach you?
Our website is a great starting point.
And your website is?
www.Annapolis.org.
Okay.
My personal number is 410-533-3847, extension 703. Anita Green, Program Manager for Foster Grandparents.
Thank you for viewing our program today, and please join us again on Annapolis Mosaics. If you would like more information about the Annapolis Human Relations Commission, simply jot down the information that's on your screen. You can reach us at 410-263-7998 or by email at hrcommission@annapolis.gov, or check out our page at the City of Annapolis website. Go to www.annapolis.gov, click on City Government, then Boards and Commissions, and scroll down to the Human Relations Commission page. And always remember the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We have flown the air like birds and swum the seas like fishes, but have yet to learn the simple act of walking the earth as brothers and sisters." Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, great. That was great.
Excellent.
That was great. Thank you so much. We had a lot of fun.
Happy to do it. See you next.